Hello, and welcome to another episode of My Orgasmic Life. I want to take a moment to appreciate my audience. I adore and appreciate you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. Remember, always you can reach out, and I want to hear about topics that you want me to cover and feedback of the things that are inspiring you. I want to hear from you. So reach out. Okay. All right. So we're going to have an interesting conversation that may be a little triggering. So please, please, please check the content warning to make sure that you're going to be okay with this conversation. So our topic today is it's okay to be a sex worker. Right? That's where we're at. Okay? That's the conversation we're going to have. So the reason I want to have this conversation is because I've been seeing a lot lately where, especially during COVID, there was an influx of OnlyFans as a way, and webcam and OnlyFans as a way to, create some revenue when everybody was in lockdown. And that's great. Except for I'm also now starting to hear about the consequences of that and how people didn't realize that that actually made you a sex worker in society's eyes. And with that comes consequences. They're not bad consequences if you know that they're there, and they're not bad consequences if you're prepared to pay those consequences. But when you don't realize what you're doing now and how what you do now is going to affect the rest of your life, you can get yourself into some pretty uncomfortable and potentially consequences that you weren't prepared to pay. So whether you are doing OnlyFans, webcam, porn, stripping, escort, doming, porn, what else? Working as a fluffer on a porn stage, even selling sex toys. Some people would see you as a sex worker if you're sexual education, like anything in the realm of human sexuality, in essence, has long-term consequences that you must be able to be prepared to pay for. And that society is never going to be okay overtly with sex working. There's nothing wrong with being a sex worker, and there's nothing wrong with working in the sex industry. But society, because of all the layers of judgment, fear, religion, laws, there's all these reasons behind why people are uncomfortable with human sexuality, and even more uncomfortable with human sexuality when somebody's getting paid for that. So that being said, things like that you may have not thought of is that when something's on the internet, it's there forever, which means 10 years, 20 years from now, you may end up in a relationship and may have children. And those kids or your children's and their buddies may find your porn somewhere or whatever it was that you were doing that's on the internet, and then be like, hey, Bobby, I really think your mom's really hot. Did you know she did porn? Are you prepared? Are you prepared to have that conversation? Are you prepared to sit Bobby down and say, hey, human sexuality, there's nothing wrong with it. There's no shame, blah, blah, blah. However, your friends might do the thing. This is how you respond to it. Again, nothing wrong, nothing bad, but you need to be aware that that is eventually going to happen. Somebody in your church may find out. Now you get ostracized. Are you okay with that? Your partner, future partner, may not be okay with your past. Even if you're okay, they may not be okay with your past. Are you okay with saying, yeah, I'm totally proud of who I am and what I did, and I did it because I wanted to, and there's nothing wrong with it? Can you hold that space? If you can't hold that space, don't drop into the sex work world at all, because it will come back. It's nothing is hidden. If you ever plan on running for office, don't do any sex work. If you're planning on having like a, in law enforcement, I wouldn't recommend doing any sex work. Like there's certain careers that if you're thinking of in the future, you may want to have, don't do any kind of sex work because it's not going to land you those jobs. And again, I'm just going to reinforce this once again. There is nothing wrong with me being in the sex industry and moving in the sex industry where you're in a state of empowerment and you feel good about it and you love what you do and it's respectful and you feel good. Like that's wonderful. But just because you're in that space doesn't mean the rest of society agrees with you. So there is going to be some pushback and there's certain things you will not be allowed to do because of that choice. Make sure you are aware of that before you do it. Okay. I've been seeing a lot of this all over the place, and I just wanted to take a moment to kind of talk about it. Just this moment of like, there's nothing wrong with being a sex worker, but don't be in denial about it. Don't think that you can hide that from your past, that the things that you do in your past are going to not affect you in the future. The things you do now affects your future, no matter what it is. And now of the era of the internet and digital everything, nothing goes away. So if you're not proud of what you are doing, get proud of it. Lean into it and be prepared for the future consequences that, again, will eventually happen. Are you ready to have those conversations? Are you ready to own it? Are you ready to be like, yeah, so what? I totally did that and I loved it and there was nothing wrong with it. Are you capable of holding space for that? You're capable for dealing with all of those things. If not, stop doing what you're doing. But if you've already done it, it's too late, by the way. There's no do-overs. There's no take-backs. It's out there. Once it's out there, it's out there. Okay? So if you hadn't have thought about these things, you're like, oh, shit. Fuck, I didn't think about those things. I just got caught up in the moment and it was hot and it was sexy and, I got paid for it. It was great. Help me go through college, whatever it is. Okay. So now you're aware that it will come to the full force of the future. Start preparing yourself to be okay with that. And that, again, there was nothing wrong with you doing it. Just be proud of it, own it, and be okay. Here's the other piece. You need to be okay with other people not being okay with it. Just like you want society to accept you where you're at, you also need to accept where society is actually at, and not, we can want things to be different and we can want things to change, but that doesn't mean that they do. And you can create safe spaces where you create that community that you desire to have in the society. You basically create your own little mini society that, you're in alignment with your belief systems, but it still doesn't change the rest of the world. All right. Before I say anything else that may get me in trouble in the future, I'm going to end this conversation here. Again, the lesson here is being a sex worker is okay. Be prepared that you are okay with the consequences that will happen eventually in the future around either your children, partners, jobs, church, whatever it is. All right, till next time. And if you need some support of how to help you release some of that guilt or shame that you've already done the thing, reach out and I can help you navigate that and work through those pieces so that you are okay with the choices that you've made and you feel good about the choices that you made. Okay. Bye-bye. Good luck. Until next time.
Well, I hope today's episode inspired you, encouraged you, and of course, made you feel tingly inside. I just want to take a moment to tell you how much I appreciate the time that you spend and how I really deeply appreciate you listening. I do it for you guys, the audience, and I love and adore you guys. So quick, loving reminder, I am not available for naked pictures, getting married, having sex, or having anybody's babies. And when you want to spend more time with me in a professional capacity as your coach, your teacher, your educator, your facilitator, you can reach me at GaiaMorissette.com. That's the gateway to all things Gaia. Now, if you're like, oh, I really wonder what's in the extended version. I also lovingly invite you to follow me on Instagram, which the handle is My Orgasmic Life Podcast, where you can leave feedback and comments. Also come join me on Facebook at My Orgasmic Life Podcast Facebook group. And I really want to hear from you. I want to know how this show affected you. What did you learn? Was it inspirational? Did you agree? Do you disagree? I want to know, because I'm a little bit of a voyeur. So I want to know how am I affecting you? So please come leave some comments. Now, if you're like, but I don't want everybody to know what I'm thinking, which is okay. Sometimes we need privacy and we need to be anonymous. So you would like that option? We have that. You can email my slutty assistant, Layla, at GaiaMorissette.com. Okay, listeners, until next time, may your life be filled with sexy exploration and orgasmic pleasure. Mwah. Bye-bye.